So I'm decided to do some work with the Best Witches again for the prism markers that I've just got. So I stamped them out with Archival ink because I decided to use the Prism water brush markers. So because they're a water-based marker, need to have a waterproof ink. So I purchased the ranged Archival ink. I've still not used the watercolours much, so I have not yet formed an opinion on how good it is. That was just me showing you that I had some water and some brushes at the ready. I stamped the images on my stamping mat as well, just to try and get an extra crisp image on that one. So what I'll do is show you what I stamped, because I thought you might not want to just sit and watch me stamp. I stamped a couple of each image. I only show you a couple of them on this video, mainly the little witch in the top corner. Again, I popped some paper underneath my sheet, just as more of a force of habit from using alcohol markers, really. So the way I've chosen to do them is to treat them as watercolours. So I scribble them onto my glass mat and it acts kind of like a palette for it. And then I've just got a brush. If you see me reaching off screen, it's just to get some water. As I say, I'm not brilliant at the watercolouring side of these yet. I think it is something that I want to practice and work on. As you can see, trying to work out how much water I actually need to dilute it. I go from being too dark to too runny and translucent quite easily. I do like the effect that it gives though. I think they do look quite pretty and a little bit more, can't think of the right word, a little bit more whimsical, I think, if you use the watercolours. Obviously a lot of people do witches' hats in black, but I figured if it was going to be a card, it's quite a cute little image, so I decided I would use a purple instead. The prism markers, they come in packs of 12. There's a total of 6 packs, so someone else can do the math. 60 markers in total. Sorry, that took me way too long, I think. There's 4 basic packs, and then there's antiques, blends and pastels. This is from just one of the standard ones. One of my lovely friends thought she'd help me with that. At that point, I realised that I may have gone a bit too overboard with the water, so I just used a bit of tissue just to take it off. The one good thing about using watercolours is that you can add more layers on and deepen the colour if you need to, which is always nice because it's one of those things you can't really take it away. So my theory was go gentle, and then I suddenly thought that I would need a bit more of the darker colour, so rather than dilute it back down again, I just popped a little bit more back on. I do like a bit of kitchen roll, can't go wrong. If it starts to go a bit wobbly, I was trying to clean off my mat slightly. All my prism markers are behind me, so that was me getting a black for the band on the cap. Hat, even. It's a pointed witch's hat, Vicky, not a pointed witch's cap. I will get better at these videos, by the way, I do promise. Again, just laying it down on the mat. I think I got it a little bit better this time from memory, with working out how much water I needed for it. I didn't get quite as carried away initially with my brush. I find it a little bit more time consuming than using the alcohol markers if you're using it as a watercolour, but I think that's just with any kind of watercolouring, but it is very therapeutic. I do find it quite nice and relaxing to do. In a minute, I suddenly realised that I haven't actually shown you the markers very well, so I will give you a little bit more information on those as well. I also commit a faux pas. You're not meant to put a wet marker onto still wet ink, so I do apologise in advance on that. Anyone that thinks I'm committing some kind of cardinal sin. So what I'll show you is, here we go. So the markers have 2 ends. So they've got a brush nib on one end, which is actually quite nice to colour in with, and then the other end is a really fine tip. It is really, really fine, so you can get some really intricate detail. So I thought I'd just use the tip to get a bit darker, and then realised I probably shouldn't, which is why I dried it off on the towel. I finished doing this little bit, and then I realised that it was quite time consuming, so I did the rest of it off screen, which is where I'm about to cut now, and magically that was the image once I'd finished doing it with markers. I do actually think it looks really quite cute. It's not perfect, but I was quite impressed. Then what I wanted to show you was just colouring with the actual marker rather than diluting it out with water. I used the fine nib for the broom handle. I could probably have got away with using the brush marker and it might have been a little bit faster. The fine line section, I'm not as keen on colouring with that side as I am with the brush. But I really liked, when I get to it, the way that the poofy bit of the broom, like the brush part of the broom goes. I think that looks quite nice. It wasn't until I move on to doing the hat in a minute with the purple that I realised probably faux pas, and the reason it didn't go as smoothly as I thought making this video is that I stamped this set of images onto my Nina cardstock, which is my alcohol marker cardstock, instead of my watercolour cardstock when I'm watercolouring, which is probably why, if you look at it, the colouring onto the marker paper doesn't look quite as even. So I decided to quit while I was ahead because I didn't really want to cause too much problems. I think what I'm going to do is restamp the images probably tomorrow and then put them onto watercolour card and see if that makes a difference, because I have used these on watercolour card and I do think it looks nicer. You can see, I think it just doesn't show them off to the best potential. They are nicer markers than that. But for now, I will speak to you all later. Take care. Bye.